Google Week 7. We're going to look at Google Blogger and Google Maps and look through all the other functions that Google has to offer. At the end of this week, we're going to take the survey, which is either here where you can scan with your phone or go to this website that I'll share with you through your email as well. So going through your Google Drive, there's different functions that you have. So if you click up at your Google Apps, which is up here with the little dots, first you have your Google Plus. That's kind of like a Facebook. This is just searching your drive that you're used to, your calendar, sites, groups, and contacts. So Google Sites is where you can build and create your own website. So if you click there, you can just sign up and create your own, and there's more advanced sections for this specific one. If you assign it for a project for students to do, for example, I gave this to my kids, they were in charge of chapter 4. So they created this website that showed some of the grammar and vocab, and they did this all on their own. I didn't have to give them any instructions. So that's one really cool project that you can give them. Back into the drive, if you click more, they show you some more options. There's YouTube that's ran by Google Maps that we're going to look at today. YouTube we're actually going to practice next week. And then they go through a whole bunch of other ones like the Blogger that we're going to look at. You can even click even more Google and they show you everything. So you can go through and see what you're interested in. We're usually practicing the home and office things. Today I'm going to show you how to do the Blogger for you or maybe for your class if you want to practice. So when you click on Blogger, you can sign in and it takes you through the steps and you click on New Blog. When you click on New Blog, you just title it and then you can choose a template if you like and then you create it. So I created this one called Google and it'll show up just like this. And when you want to post something to the world, so this is a good way for kids to journal, or if you like to journal and write things, you just click on New Post. And then you can start typing right here and then publish it. All right. If you look on the other side, it shows you like what you published, how many pages, like if you want different pages like on a website, if people comment on your different blogs, and then how your statistics are and everything. So you can change different things on the left side. So once I post something and I want to write something like Google Week 7, when I'm talking to you about things, I type here, I can insert images, I can insert links, I can do anything that I want right here. Over here I can label it, so if people are searching on Google for something, they can find me. And then I can put locations and other things like that. When I'm done, I can just view it on the blog, and this is the way I set it up. And so anyone in the world could read about my blog. All right. Over here is the archive. And then last week's video, so anyone can come to this and read it. You can also click and follow other people's blogs. So when you're researching, you can follow people's blogs and see what they're interested in. So up at the top, maybe you can search someone that you're interested in. So maybe I'm looking for science blogs. And I can find some popular ones right here and start reading about it. So maybe I find this one interesting. Usually I can follow it somewhere, so it'll tell me if I can follow it. And then if I want to keep looking, I can follow it on Twitter. There's so many different things that you can look for. Maybe I want to look for, I'm into dogs and rescuing dogs. So for example, I'm just going through this one and looking for different things about dogs. You can follow anyone writes a blog. It's a free thing, like you can write a blog or someone that's famous can write a blog. It's totally up to them. So if you find a blog that you like this dog blog spot, I can copy that link. And then when I'm in my blog, I can follow them with my reading list. So I just copy and paste that website right here and I can add it. And then I click follow, and then down below, well, it's saving right now, but down below it's going to show all the different blogs that I follow. So when I'm logged in, I can see all the different blogs that I follow as well. All right. You can also assign this as a project or where students can comment on each other. So for example, my students were talking about the same chapter, chapter 4, and they were going through blogging about different things that were going on with their life that they were talking about, like these people were getting married, and so people could comment on that. They were talking about makeup. I mean, it's totally up to that. So if you want students to create their own blog, they can, but I also can comment on their specific one. So if you want their comments to show, they can just write a comment right here, like I'm going to say, good work. And then I can publish that, and it goes right underneath. So they can see each other's comments, and you can see it as well if you want them to do a writing assignment. So that's a pretty fun way for them to interact with each other online. The other thing that I'm going to show you besides Blogger, which is right here, is I'm going to show you Maps. So I can click on it right here, or I can just type in Maps at Google and how to use them. So I just click on that and it'll show up. So Maps is an easy way. It's kind of like Google Earth, and I'll show you that in a second, but you have to download Google Earth. So let's say I want to look up directions. I type in my first place, and of course I can do directions. Maybe I want to go to Franklin. And then it gives me the different options. So there's 3 different ways that I can click on and see how long it'll take. And by what. So I can click on I'm driving, I'm going by a transit, I'm walking, and there's more options as well. Alright? The other way that we like to use this for maps is, say that I'm going to Boston and I need to go, for example, to get a flight. So there's different ways that I can look into Boston. So maybe I'm a new person and I really don't know what the traffic is like up in Boston, so I can click traffic. And this is what's going on right now, so I can see that there's a lot going on, and I can just click on it and move it around. I can zoom in down here and see where is that traffic that's really bothersome. But I can also look at typical traffic, like what does the traffic look like, for example, at 8 in the morning or 6, for example, in the morning, maybe if I have to take someone up to the airport. And it'll show me where it's busy and what roads to take. Now, as I slide through the day, it becomes more red, which is telling me that it's pretty slow. So then I can figure out my route when I want to drive. Okay? Then there's this little person down here, and I can bring him over to Boston and make a street view right of Boston. So let's just drop him and see where we go. Alright, so now I'm on Tremont Street, and I can get the view of Tremont and see what it looks like it's under construction, what's going on. And it just kind of gives me an up-to-date view. Now, you pretty much know what Boston looks like, but let's say I want to look at what Paris looks like. This is a good way for my students to see a live version of Paris by just dragging the little guy in. Right now I'm just dropping him anywhere, but I can put it in a monument, and if they want to see like up close what a monument looks like. So here's a random street. I could say like, oh, what does this traffic sign look like, for example, and what does it mean? But maybe I want to be, for example, on the Eiffel Tower. It'll take me to the Eiffel Tower and what's around it, and maybe I want to view it from the bottom, for example. So this is a good option because now I can scroll around and look up into the Eiffel Tower, and this is what it looks like. So for someone that doesn't travel very often, that's a cool way for them to take a look at what the city looks like. I can also look at all the different pictures and see a tour. And so I can click on the tour if I want. I can click around and see what it looks like from the Eiffel Tower. And so there's a lot of different advantages by using Google Maps. So now we're looking at what it looks like. Okay, so that's Google Maps. Now, one more thing before you go, I wanted to show you what Google Earth looks like. So you have to actually download Google Earth, so we could always ask if you really want to use it, what it looks like. So I can do the same thing and type in Paris, and it'll take me there. And here are different options over here on the left. So I can see a 3D buildings, I can see tours, I can pin a place, I can look at the roads and the weather and everything like that. I still have my little guy, and I can drag him over here somewhere that I want. So now he's at the street view. and I can look around. It's pretty similar to maps. But let's say, for example, I go back to the Eiffel Tower. It shows me the address over here. But when I go over to the Eiffel Tower right here, let me zoom in. It decides to let me to. Okay, here we go. Let me scroll up the map a little bit. Now up at the top there's some really cool functions, and one of my favorite ones is the historical imagery. When I click on that, it shows me as far back to 1943. I can see what it looks like around the Eiffel Tower. So it'll show me pictures of how around the Eiffel Tower things have changed, from buildings to the architecture to everything. So you can find your favorite place. Like I was looking up the Pro Football Hall of Fame, for example, and doing the same thing. Going over to Canton, Ohio, zooming into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I can do the same thing way back to 1994, it looks like, and I can see the stadium, the Fawcett Stadium. But as I scroll, I can see it getting larger. Looks like they added more parts of the stadium. And now it looks like they actually have a better field compared to grass field. Now they have the AstroTurf. And so I can see how this specific place evolves throughout the years, and it'll tell you how far I can go back on the left. So you can do the same thing as Google Maps, where you can click on the different tour guides. And so I think this is a good way to show history of the different parts of the world and how it has changed. All right, so there's a few little pointers for you. So next up, you can practice looking up some blogs if you're interested in blogs. If you want to play with the Google Maps, feel free to. The only thing I need you to do for me this week is to take the survey. So I'm going to share this survey with you on the email. You can click here, or if you have a smartphone, you can scan this with a QR scanner. So it'll take you to the same place. Okay, so have a good week, and I hope you have fun with this app.